Right here. Everyone thinks that's the nuclear. Everyone thinks that's the nuclear weapon. They think it's a nuclear weapon. They say if I press this, it's the end of the world.
All lies will be exposed.
Hello and good evening. Yes, I know it's a Saturday evening live stream. We are live here at Hardlens Media on YouTube and on Rumble and on Kick and on X as well. Welcome, everybody. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like button. It does boost up the algorithm and rhyme. Usually we are live Monday through Fridays at 9 a.m. Central, always on the clock. But today's a little bit different. It's about calling out the hypocrisy of the Democrat Party. This is going to be a special evening live stream because obviously they don't have a plan. And while this is more of also a counter to this fight the oligarchy. And yes, folks, it is not a typo. You are reading the title of the show correct. AOC, we need a Democrat Party that farts for us harder. I mean, fights for us harder. No, she really, no, it happened. Oh, it happened. And I have the video to show it, but this is more about just more than not just making fun of AOC and Bernie Sanders and them doing this fight the oligarchy, because my goodness, Joe Biden and the Democrats had their own billionaires and oligarchs, and notice that how awfully quiet they all have been. So welcome to the show. Before we get started, if you haven't done so already, please hit the like button. Good to have all of you here. We are live and direct. 1 2 1 2. Check. Press it. I'm assuming we're good 5 by 5. I've seen some people. If you have your audio up, go ahead, tune it up all the way. Hit the like button. But nonetheless, we're going to get started. Before we do, Hardlens Media stays alive because of our wonderful patron supporters and the people that keep us alive. So if you want to support independent media, please consider being a patron supporter. You can find that link in the Linktree, Peachtree. So here you go. I'm going to click copy and paste it so that way it's available for everyone. So you can have it live and direct right there. I'm going to pin it in the live stream chat so that way you guys and gals can find it. Pinned it right there to Linktree, Peachtree. And here it is for all of you to see. There's our YouTube link, our X link, our Rumble in the Jungle link, our Kick link, our Discord link, where all my party animals are at. Patreon, please consider supporting us on Patreon, PayPal, and of course the Instagram as well. That's what you can do to support Hardlens Media because we do appreciate it and it would be ever so nice. So thank you everybody for tuning in, and also patron supporters. Shout out to all of you. Now, if you can't be a patron supporter, here's what you could do. Number 1, enjoy the show. Number 2, enjoy the show. Number 3, handles the chat. And number 4, share our content on social media. It does boost up the algorithm and rhyme. Share our content, all that good jazz. And I also have a special announcement at the end of the show as well, because there's a couple things that need to be cleared up as well. But nonetheless, let me read these wonderful, beautiful names. Shout out to Fabian J. Lilo, Farron Frozek. We love you. We miss you. Farron Hassan, F. Google. We got Fajushi K. We got Gela McGeeva. We got Gamey Bruce, Gary Geschwitz, Gilgamesh, friend to us all. God in the flesh, Googie, GNC. I send my love to you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Hollywood Dan, Hot Nixon, Indy at INN. Who is that? Irina Karova, Jack Rapora, Jacqueline Hemmings. We got James Sawari, Jason Boas, Jeffrey Braden, Jenny Tufnell, Jessica Martinez, Jim Cretan, Jim O. Stinkman, John Tudell, Jose Manuel Alonso Jr., Jose Vega, Judy Driggers, Judy Monroe, Julie Lily La, I hope I said your name right, Kay Wrigley, Karen Shapiro, Catherine Rose Caddis, Kathleen Malice, Kelly Dowhauer, Kenneth Locke, Kinkle, Kurt Boss, the boss of bosses, Kurt L. Riker, Lana Williams, Laura Bomber, Lawrence Johnson, Lee Folks, Lou Israel, and Love Rain. Well, we love you too, and we love all our patron supporters. We love all our supporters on the show. And of course, shout out to my Kick people. That's right. You are getting a special treat. We had movie night on Thursday. We had a Patreon show on Friday, and you're getting a Saturday evening live stream, as you should all the time. And by the way, hey, shout out to you guys. Thank you so much. But now I think it's only fair that we do talk about what's going on here. All right. No, it's not about fighting the oligarchy, but it's also calling out the hypocrisy. And as I said before, I'm just going to rip this Band-Aid off. She does really say it, and you are reading the title correctly, which is why you should be sharing this live stream on all social media. And yes, we will be time-stamping this too. We need a Democrat Party that farts harder for us. I mean, fights harder for us.
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us too.
Say again?
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us too. We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us too.
I'm never gonna let this pure gold content go. All right. I'm not. But there's important things we got to bring up here. See, Bernie Sanders and AOC have been busy this week. And I talked about this on Friday's show. And this is causing much concern because I think there's a lot of people who are being shepherded right back into the sheep pen, lambs being led to the slaughter, cows going to the great bovine university. And if you know what I reference from The Simpsons, I love you. But no, this is really a thing that's happening. Sanders, AOC draw biggest crowd of their careers at rally to fight the oligarchy in Denver. Great. Oh, it's okay now for everyone to rally, to cause a ruckus in turn. Before anything else, I want to pull up this little tweet right here before I continue on the rest of the article. Brianna Joy Gray, shout out to her. She's been doing great work. But how can I debate against what she has just stated here when it's a solid fact? Brianna Joy Gray, this is going to seem so sinister if, when, they tell these people to vote for the oligarchs in 2028, just like they did in 2024. And let me add a little bit more to that, just like what they told us to do in 2020 and in 2016. Oh, and in 2012 and in 2008. Why not? Why not? Because Bernie Sanders says 15,000 people attended. Trump visited the same place 12 days before the 2004 election. He couldn't fill it. AOC and I had overflow crowds. Great. And now you're going to just lead those little lambs, those little cows, to continue to support a neoliberal party that doesn't give a damn. But let's first talk about the facts, because we have to address the facts here. And this is why everyone needs to start talking, because we got videos. Because on the one hand, you got Bernie Sanders saying things. You got AOC saying things that, oh, we agree with. And of course, you're going to have videos, shout out to Case Study QB, with corporate media being like, AOC and Bernie are bringing in these crowds. Well, no shite. We saw that in 2016 and 2020. Too bad they didn't have the initiative to actually push forward on it. On the heels of record-breaking attendance at Fight the Oligarchy event in Tempe, Arizona earlier this week, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York held a rally in Denver, Colorado on Friday evening that drew more than 34,000 people, making it the largest event that Sanders or AOC have ever held. Sanders, an independent, wrote on social media on Friday that the turnout is a sign the American people will not allow to move us into oligarchy or authoritarianism. We will fight back. We will win. According to Anna Barr, Sanders' communications director, the senator's largest rally prior to Denver took place in Brooklyn, New York in 2016 when he was running for president. Oh, I remember that. There's so much I want to time travel to tell and warn a young Kit Cabello about. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a Democrat, wrote online that something special is happening. Working people are ready to stand together and fight for our democracy. Thank you, Colorado. At the rally, which took place at Denver Civic Center Park, the two lawmakers hit on the same themes they spoke in Arizona. The American people are saying loud and clear, we will not accept an oligarchic form of society. Then why don't you stand up to your good friend Joe? Sanders said, according to the Colorado Public Radio. We will not accept the richest guy in the world running all over Washington, making cuts to Social Security Administration, cuts to Veterans Administration, destroying the Department of Education, all so they could deliver $1 trillion in tax breaks to the wealthiest 1%. Just like how Joe Biden was putting more into this ridiculous money into this war in Ukraine. Just like how he turned a blind eye to the genocide in Gaza, just like how he turned a blind eye to the people in East Palestine, Ohio, or the people who suffered the dangerous wildfires in LA County and in Lahaina. It's all adding up. Don't you all see? It's all adding up. Bernie Sanders is just doing exactly what we all see. And Brianna Joy Gray, again, putting this tweet up here. This is going to seem so sinister if, when, ? They tell these people to vote for the oligarchs in 2028, just like they did in 2024. Hey, let's have democracy in the chat. Do you really think that Bernie and AOC are really going to sell us out? Type 1 for no, Kit. This time it's different. They're ready to raise the ruckus. You'll see. Type 2, man, no. No, don't ask that question. They're going to tell us to vote for the oligarchs in 2028. I wonder how many 2s will be in the chat, because here's the thing that AOC needs to realize. You could say you could fight. You could say you could fight as much as you want.
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us to.
I don't know why she said fart. Maybe, I don't know, it was on her mind or she let one out, whatever. But see, the Democrats have a problem. And these are recent protests at a couple events, one in Illinois, and I also want to give a shout out to Colorado District 7 in regards towards people still protesting Democrats about what's happening in Gaza. Because yes, it's very clear that both the Republican and Democrat Party have AIPAC babysitters. Yes, they get the corporate donations from Wall Street, big banks, and corporations. But I think the Democrats forgot what cost in the election. They lost their entire coalition. They didn't give a damn about Arab or Muslim voters or Latino voters or black voters or white voters. They didn't give a damn. And yet we are noticing that these same protesters are now protesting these same Democrats, and they're getting nothing in return. Case in point right here.
Sir, sit down. Show some respect for everybody who is here. Show some respect for the people who are here.
Yesterday, 7 children right
People did not come here to hear you. Show some respect for the people in this district.
What you're saying is I'm not going to get my way when my people are being slaughtered, and I want you to stop funding them.
If you would like to run for office, run for office.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You are the most soulless piece of crap I've ever seen.
That's your opinion.
Soulless.
Sir, get off get off the stage right now.
Police arrived after that man jumped onto the stage, as you saw there, and Kasten took a break, but the interruptions continued. When he returned, he eventually told the audience that it was the police's decision to end this event.
Sir.
And we're going to have that follow-up, but I want to pull up another video here too. Now, this took place in the great state of Colorado.
What keeps me up at night is the child that I saw, the dead babies in Gaza. You're a scientist. You support fracking. You support the ecocide and genocide of Gaza. Congressman Foster, will you stop sending weapons to Israel?
No, I don't, because you know what? We've been emailing your office for many, many months, and you don't care about meeting with any of your constituents, so long as they always say what you want to hear. And what you want to hear is, okay to continue bombing people, is okay to give billions of dollars to Israel when people here need it. You want to blame Trump? You want to blame Doge? You're the one that helps him do that. You're the one that helps him do that. And this.
We're going to rewind that, but I think that's very important for the Democrat lawmakers to understand. Look, I have my criticisms of the Trump administration and the actions that's happening and Elon Musk. But see, the thing is, I want everyone to remember that what Trump and Elon are doing is nothing new. Yes, it is in public. Yes, they are high-profile people. Yes, they're being made into Saturday morning cartoon villains. But this has been going on for decades. Listen, St. George Carlin, the man who was ahead of his time, told us it is one big club and you ain't in it. But who's allowing somebody like Trump or Elon to get away with it? Democrat lawmakers who didn't listen to progressives, independents, and critical thinkers when there was a time or chance. Yes, I know, controversial statement in 3, 2, 1, when there was a chance to maybe reform the Democrat Party. And yes, I'm including 2016 and with the Justice Democrats. Put down your tomatoes. I know. It was one big pipe dream. It was all a joke, a waste of time, money, effort, and energy. But when the Democrats are now looking around wondering, oh, where has our base gone? It's because they gave them 2 middle fingers and told them to F off. And then they told them to F off again. And third time's a charm, told them to F off again, which is why the Democrats are in this spot. So all the actions of Doge and Trump, see, the thing is, they're putting all this fake resistance up here, which is why AOC and Bernie are being dusted off so they could lead all the lambs to the slaughter, lead all the cows to Bovine University to get slaughtered and to be good little puppets to the Democratic establishment, because heaven forbid people actually become critical thinkers, break away from the two-party system, and are no longer subservient to it. Because this two-party system continues on, you have the Republicans and the Democrats, and it's great big game. But see, the Democrats don't want to listen to their voting base because, number one, they've already admitted that they're a private institution.
Constituents, so long as they always say what you want to hear. And what you want to hear is, okay to continue bombing people, is okay to give billions of dollars to Israel when people here need it. You want to blame Trump? You want to blame Doge? You're the one that helps him do that. You're the one that helps him do that. And this weak-ass Democratic Party does nothing for them. You don't care about the dead people. 400 kids were killed Yesterday.
Listen to
You
me.
don't care.
Listen
I'm
to me.
leaving. I'm leaving. And it doesn't matter.
Listen
You want
to
to
me.
talk about I can go and make a meeting with him? It's a lie. It's not true. He never wants to hear
Deal with
anybody.
me.
Why do we keep sending all this money, all this weapons to Israel to indiscriminately bomb my people? I have family in Bethlehem who fled. They fled Bethlehem.
It's one of my proudest votes in Congress was for.
I met with them in December 2023, and I shared my personal story. I shared about all the Palestinians in Gaza who we love, who have been murdered by Israel. An embarrassment to Catholic values and to St. Benedict. You engage the world by bombing Palestinians. Let's go. By fueling the genocide of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands.
And so it's not over yet, because this is something that we need to understand. These are current things happening. Now, this is only 10 seconds. Try not to punch your screen. Try not to yell. Listen very carefully. This video will be on repeat. March 20th, 2025, Bennett Peterson Hall, Town Hall, hot mic moment. And I have the volume all the way up. You'll be able to see the subtitles too. You've been warned.
I can only take the blame for the 2,000. Don't worry. I can only take the blame for the 2,000. Don't worry.
I can only take the blame for the 2 Palestinian ones being interrupting the event at this Bennett Peterson Town Hall on March 20th, 2025, to which she's told, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
We're here to have a town hall that Brittany Pedersen has put together for all of us. Oh, this is a private event. The
town hall is not a private event. It's for the public, right? I mean, I could be wrong here, but, you know, let me know. Perhaps I'm not hip with the times. Gen Z, let me know what's going on. Come on, kiddos. As a matter of fact, boomers, Gen Xers, millennials, Gen Z. Am I behind the times? Last I checked, the town hall's public, right? Yes, no, maybe. I don't know.
this hall has been rented.
Not even ready.
Good afternoon. We still have folks streaming in from outside.
So that means constituents who previously questioned Representative Peterson about Israel were blacklisted. They're on the list.
Many questions were submitted in advance. So we're going to be taking those questions for the panel.
Performative bullshit! Let's turn on the music.
Turn on the music. Now we're going to return back to this video here. It's from CNN. This took place in Downers Grove because I just want everyone to see this. This is, again, action and anger towards the Democrats. You know, they're still blaming independents, Arab, Muslim voters, black voters, you know, the traditional coalition that was part of the Democrat Party. You know, DNC still hasn't let that go. They're like a jilted lover. How dare you cheat on me? How dare you not vote for me? How dare you vote third party or independent? Or how dare you vote for Trump?
Sir, sit down. Show some respect for everybody who is here. Show some respect for the people who are here.
Yesterday, 7 children read the list. 7 children.
People did not come here to hear you. Show some respect for the people in this district.
What you're saying is I'm not going to get my way when my people are being slaughtered, and I want you to stop funding them.
If you would like to run for office, run for office.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You are the most soulless piece of crap I've ever seen.
That's your opinion.
Soulless.
Sir, get off get off the stage right now.
Police arrived after that man jumped onto the stage, as you saw there, and Kasten took a break, but the interruptions continued when he returned. He eventually.
Now, what's the purpose of playing all this? Because it's a point to show all of you that the Democrats, while they are still promoting AOC and Bernie out there, rallying the crowds, rallying the people to fight or fart, having a party to fight or fart, depending on which one you want to take, most likely the Democrats are farting. I don't understand what lost their coalition. So for all these people attending these Fight the Oligarchy events, okay, great. We're getting the feel-good vibes of 2016 and 2020. I remember that. Hell, I attended a Bernie Sanders event in 2020. It was a very high-profile. Matter of fact, no, I've attended actually more than one. I've attended a couple of Bernie Sanders events here in Chicago and in Michigan and in Indiana. You know, we did some live streams. We covered those events. Those are some pretty big deals back in the day. I remember the euphoria, the feeling of, isn't it great? Isn't it lovely? But see, the thing is, it's nothing but a placebo effect. See, the Democrats can't fight. And the reason why I played that video is because that said representative from Downers Grove, Illinois, was allowed to go on BSDNC. I want to play this video for all of you. Shout out to Case Study QB, who's wrongly being censored. Hit that like button if you haven't done so already.
You, sir, were confronted at your own town hall over the treatment of Palestinians in the Israel-Hamas war. CNN obtained the video. Let's take a look at that.
What you're saying is I'm not going to get my way when my people are being slaughtered, and I want you to stop funding them.
If you would like to run for office, run for office.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You are the most soulless piece of crap I've ever seen.
That's your opinion.
Soulless.
Sir, get off get off the stage right now.
Now, we remind our viewers that you're on the phone. We could see that. I'm sure you remember it. What did you take away from that encounter?
Candidly, a lot of sadness.
A lot of sadness? No, there's anger and rage. All right? You got this ridiculous conflict that's happening in Ukraine. You have this horrific conflict that has been reignited in Gaza. By the way, folks, there's actually airstrikes happening in Lebanon again. Most likely there's going to be some airstrikes in Syria. Boy, oh boy. What? Can't we have peace? I mean, at least for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? How about half a year? Like, nobody does anything. I know. It's a tall order, but I'm all for it. Maybe. Yes, no. But there's a lot of sadness. No, there's rage and anger at Democrat lawmakers that are saying, oh, what do we do? They have no plan except pull out AOC and Bernie to say, like, all right, guys, pep rally.
Piece of crap I've ever seen.
That's your opinion.
Soulless.
Sir, get off the stage right now.
Now, we remind our viewers that you're on the phone. We could see that. I'm sure you remember it. What did you take away from that encounter?
Candidly, a lot of sadness. There's the, I have tremendous empathy. As I'd say this is someone who's traveled fairly extensively in the West Bank and been, fairly outspoken against the Netanyahu government, including calling on them to sanction Ministers Ben-Gvir and Smotrich. So I understand the pain. My sadness comes from the fact that there are so few places left in our society where we intentionally walk into a room, don't know if the person next to us agrees with us, but have a pre-existing agreement to be respectful to each other. And this was actually my second town hall this week that we'd gone through and done that on. And in any town hall, you would expect that there will be people who disagree with you. But when a group comes in and says, I'm gonna yell and scream until the town hall shuts down, that's not good for anybody. And what was hard was that, we were.
Oh my goodness. It was so hard and difficult. Oh, how sad for him. How sad indeed that he gets nothing. that he's crying like a little punk.
Up to, I think by the time the event ended, there were 4 police officers in the room.
Yeah.
And the policemen were getting increasingly concerned that the audience was going to become physical with each other. And so they asked us in the matter of public safety to shut it down because they could see a lot of the audience members were disagreeing with what the people who you saw yelling at me were doing. And so we're left saying at this point when we need to have clear communication about what's going on, there's something lost if we can't have that in forums like a town hall.
The whole point of a town hall is to hear the anger and rage from your constituents. The whole point of a town hall is to hear from your people. The whole point of a town hall is for people to raise the ruckus. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, that's the thing. It's not sadness. There's rage in action, to which I have to say, pulling up this tweet again, if you're just joining us right now, please hit that like button. This is going to seem so sinister when they tell these people to vote for the oligarchs in 2028 like they did in 2024. Shout out to Brianna Joy Gray, who's speaking truth to power. I also want to pull this up here because this is AOC asking, hey, we need a Democrat party that fights.
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us to.
Wow, isn't that something? Say that again, AOC, one more time, in case people are just tuning in, because no, that's not a typo in the title. That's an actual thing.
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us to. We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us to.
Wow, here's what I think.
And here's what I think about it.
Exactly. Because now we go for the insidious part. Here's what's insidious. Corporate media. Bernie Sanders in Arizona for Fight the Oligarchy tour.
Oh, that we don't have to live like this anymore, Las Vegas. We deserve better than this, Las Vegas.
Those are 2 really powerful speeches. What I am struck by, though, and you see it from time to time in American politics, where the people who are considered to be on the far left and the people who are considered to be on the far right are saying the same thing. When they're talking about technocrats, Silicon Valley, billionaires, oligarchs, AOC is saying a lot of what sort of the Steve Bannon wing of MAGA is saying. Like, if you hear Steve Bannon, we've talked about this. If you hear Steve Bannon talking, he will talk about the threat of the billionaires, the threat of the tax cuts, the threat of the technocrats, the threat of.
Steve Bannon made the dumbest statement ever where, oh my goodness, what's going on here? Trump's going to run again for a 3rd term, and that's going to cause a lot of people to panic, have their own little liberal meltdowns. See, here's the thing. What AOC and Bernie are doing is nothing more than performative art. This is all it is. It's the theater kids with the crazy old-timer Bernie trying to rally up people and say, hey, guys, we can still fight Trump. We need a system that's going to fight the oligarchs. And here's BSDNC singing the praise until the next election cycle where if there's a progressive, oh my goodness, you better believe people are going to say, oh, we can't have this radical like Bernie or AOC in. It's the same thing over and over again. I've been covering this now for 8 years. All this is to get people to be suckered into the Democrat Party in 2026. And I'm willing to bet the Democrats are going to be running on impeaching Trump.
Well, a lot of what your father was talking about 30 years ago. And it is amazing how like this sort of populist strain comes together at the end of both political spectrums.
That is the message that Democrats should run with. Oligarchy, it is, they are getting rich, you are getting nothing. And they need to just go hard at that. They need to let their anger show. They need to just frankly move on from a lot of the, Trump, making it so about Trump, but make it about the whole picture, about what he is doing. Bernie Sanders has the message that Democrats need to embrace.
Well, and again, I've heard you talk about this before. It's a politically potent message, not because it's a, quote, Marxist message. It's because it's
Nothing about this is Marxist. God, man. It's like anybody who calls Trump or any of his supporters fascist. It's like the word fascism and communism are being diluted. Their meaning is being taken out. You know, so whenever I hear somebody say, "Oh, well, Chicago's a communist city," no, it's not. No, it is not. It isn't. And at the same time, too, when I hear somebody say, "Oh, you voted for Trump or you voted third party, you're a fascist." No, you stupid moron. No. That's not how it works. Words are being used in a way that makes no sense, and they lose their meaning then. And I want Democrats to understand this, that this is how you lost your coalition. Now, there was a chance for Bernie Sanders to really take the momentum in 2016 and 2020. That time is gone. Bernie Sanders, he's going off into the sunset. Well, yes, hey, Hardlands Media, we were inspired by the work of Bernie Sanders. We were. I mean, that's how the show got started. That's how everything got started. Little did we know that we have more fight in us than Bernie ever did.
A MAGA message as well. Again, if you listen to what Steve Bannon says, you listen to other people who are talking about, hey, we don't need to give billionaires and multinational corporations more tax cuts. We don't need to let the technocrats, we don't need Silicon Valley, continue with their monopolies. I mean, these are people who actually say positive things about Lena Khan, too, because they hate a concentration of power. And Elise is just right. I mean, I think she's exactly right. This is where Democrats can actually find common cause with a lot of people who voted for Donald Trump, because we've always talked about the very strange thing that in 2016, the Bernie Sanders supporters, after they couldn't vote for Bernie Sanders, who did they vote for?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
That's not what happened in 2016. Not all of them voted for Trump. Not all of them did that. Some of them voted third party. Some of them chose not to vote. And yes, some did vote for Trump. And some actually did vote for Hill Dog. And how did it all work out in the end? The Democrats had a piss poor candidate named Hillary Clinton who lost to Donald Trump. And of course, then again, in 2020, when everyone is the vote blue no matter who mindset, oh, you better vote for Biden. It's very, very bad if you don't. People let fear get the better of them. Biden won. Biden made sure nothing would fundamentally change. The Democrats did nothing to stop a senile old man whose brain was already melted and turned into a puddle, whose vice president was also a piece of crap as well. Not popular at all. In fact, her polling numbers were lower. That's right. Kamala's polling numbers were lower than good old Joe Biden, and they lost to Trump. No open primary, no fair primary. The Democrats have admitted they are a private institution. Private institution.
And in that common cause, you say it does bring you surprising fellow travelers. I mean, Steve Bannon openly speaks about he's an admirer of AOC, thinks she's a remarkably talented politician, a political athlete, but also they agree on some of these issues. There is that idea that the elites are the problem, and they're forgetting that working class, the common man. And Eugene Robinson, we're seeing that among this debate right now, front and center for the Democratic Party, we have seen in some of the post-election autopsies, many, including they say, when we become just the party of college graduates, we've lost the working class, or we're in the midst of losing the working class to Republicans. Now, some of that maybe is just a Trump-centric phenomenon. That's too early to know. But talk to us about what you're hearing and seeing. Bernie Sanders and Representative Ocasio-Cortez, these are big crowds. There's a real undeniable energy out there on this message.
Yeah. But see, here's the thing about that energy. It's nowhere there. Because when confronted, how do Democrats actually act? Pulling up this tweet again from Brianna Joy Gray. This is going to seem so sinister when they tell these people to vote for the oligarchs in 2028 like they did in 2024.
Absolutely. It's look at that crowd for Bernie Sanders. I mean, that was a huge, arena packing crowd that came to hear his message about the oligarchy, and it's also about corruption. Right. That's the other part of it. The corrupt nature of these relationships and these essentially government handouts to people like Elon Musk, who should be, one of the most prominent poster children for the kind of message that the Democrats need to deliver.
It wasn't too long ago. I remember when the Democrats used to worship Elon Musk and they loved him when he used to donate to them, just like how they used to love Donald Trump. I also want to make a very special announcement. Luis Brooks, wow, thank you so much for your generosity. $50 YouTube super chat. You see, it's people like you that make me say this. Thank you so much for your generosity. You get an amazing.
Amazing. Amazing. Amazing. Amazing. Amazing. Amazing.
And you know what else is amazing? If people hit that like button too. Remember, folks, Trump, Elon, the Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, yes, they were all, of course, I dare to see Trump get inaugurated. But remember, those 4 people I mentioned used to be Democratic donors. Donors with a capital D.
And there are others out there who are going around who are addressing this oligarchy corruption message, like Senator Andy Kim in New Jersey, who's having town halls in Republican districts and getting a big response. So it's interesting, and this is probably right. It's happening out there in the country. It's not happening in Washington. It's not happening between Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. It's happening in the grassroots, and that's where where powerful movements start.
John, we've talked about it all the time, how a lot of Americans in middle America aren't really that ideological. I tell this story all the time about how people that voted for Bobby Kennedy after he was assassinated voted for George Wallace. We've talked about how people who were going to vote for Bernie Sanders in 2016 after he's out of the race and beaten by Hillary Clinton, they vote for Donald.
Beaten, air quote. Listen, going to say this again. The 2016 Democratic primary was heavily weighed in favor for Hillary Clinton. Now, of course, there were many victories in which Bernie Sanders and his campaign won, but too bad he didn't have the follow-through, the spine, the heart, the balls, the soul, the mindset to actually win. No one talks about votes disappearing, ballots disappearing, polling stations being shut down, and it's a 3-way road. You see, where Bernie Sanders voters went, not only just Donald Trump, but there's also a few other pathways. Third parties, not voting, and yes, even voting for Hill Dog. But the vast majority said F you to the Democrat Party. Just throwing it out there because I think corporate media, BSDNC, is forgetting this important piece of information.
Donald Trump. Talk about populism and how, whether you're talking about populism on the left or populism on the right, there is this uniting feature that, again, deep suspicion for good reason, as the middle class and the working class fall further and further behind. Tax cuts for billionaires, tax cuts for Silicon Valley, tax cuts for multinational corporations, the allowing of these technological giants, these conglomerations to continue getting bigger and bigger, to become basically monopolies, and the federal government, both Republicans, Democrats, not doing anything about it.
Well, part of this is on sort of the darker side of this, as we've all talked about now for a decade, is there's the element of fear. There's the sense of powerlessness and the fundamental human instinct to want to define and understand and therefore fight back against that which makes you fearful, right? So that's an animating force in all politics. And it has been particularly ferocious over the last decade in American life. But there's also, as you're saying, a substantive and I would argue positive element of populism, which is sometimes
it was there until it was killed by corporate media, the Democrats, and the Vote Blue, no matter who influencer crowd, which, by the way, I'm noticing that there's a little bit cracks on the current Vote Blue, no matter who TikTok influencers, but that's a little bit later on. That story's very juicy.
Times, those who are fearful are right to be afraid. And there are policy steps, there are arguments to be made in the public square that can try to bring what Lincoln called an open field and a fair chance to American life. And in many ways, this was a talk Lincoln gave in 1864 in August. It was kind of an economic version of the Gettysburg Address. The Gettysburg Address was about our ideal as a country.
See, now here's the thing. Have you noticed that not once, not twice, 3 times, and a little bit more than that, the Snorfest is telling you, oh, people, Bernie Sanders voters just went to Trump. No, they didn't. See, progressives and independents can do whatever they want. And right now, I think Democrats are still forgetting the fact that people, at least voters, are demanding more from their representatives. See, it's more than just, oh my goodness, we this is a populist movement. There was an opportunity. The window was there for the Democrats to change. Now, Trump, he was able to capitalize on the political movement. He kept his political organization together. He kept his people together. Is it my fault that the Democrats open up the bottle and let the lightning bounce out? See, that's on Bernie. And that's on all the Democrats, because they assumed that people would fall in line and follow orders. And just to wake you up from the Snorfest, here, another incident. Shout out again to the people in Colorado confronting their Democrat lawmakers, because people are angry. And this wasn't just last year. No, this was this year in the merry months of March.
Brittany, how can you fight a dictator when you've been arming a dictator for a year and a half? How many more billions are you going to send to Israel? Hey, shut it. Hey, Brittany, how many more bombs are you going to send to Israel? How can you fight a dictator when you're arming a dictator?
Get off, dictator. Get off TikTok. Random attendee. You're arming a dictator by voting for Trump. This is how you lose your base, liberals.
I didn't vote for Trump. What the fuck are you talking about? Brittany Patterson is arming and funding a genocide. You can deny it forever until it comes here. Look how afraid they are of the truth. I'm on public property. What do you want now?
It's district property, sir, and you got to go now. Thanks.
Okay.
We appreciate it, man.
I'm going.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, man.
I know you were staring at me the whole time I was there. It's not like we didn't see you. Patterson had my name crossed off of her fucking list. She doesn't want to hear these things. And my name was literally blacked out on the list, and they weren't even supposed to let me in. You know, I have Palestinian friends who can never fucking go home. But I, as a Jewish American, could go get a house from them right this fucking minute.
I wonder if you guys liked her answer about what they're doing to fight back, and she wouldn't say anything about Hakeem Jeffries. It's all right. I'm just going to get kicked out of every building in Colorado.
Hey, just to wake you guys up.
That we were conceived in liberty. We should judge ourselves by the degree to which we live into the Declaration or we fall away from it. He gave a talk in the campaign of 1864 where he said that the war may go on for several years, but it's worth it because it means that we would have an open field and a fair chance for your industry, intelligence, and enterprise. And what populism is an attempt to combat those forces that would limit and control our industry, intelligence, and enterprise.
Riveting stuff, BSDNC, because also here's another thing what populism can be done. It can be done to twist you in a way to keep you subservient in a party that says it cares, but it doesn't. Hey, Bernie, this is how populism can be used to trick people, leading the lambs to the slaughter and having all the little cows go to the great bovine university. Are you going to get your diploma there?
We have major epidemics dealing with addiction. I think we lost 100,000 Americans last year because of drug overdoses, serious problem in my state. We have people addicted to alcohol, serious problems with alcoholism. We have people who are addicted to tobacco. My father smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day and he died before he was 60. People addicted to food. But I will tell you this, in the midst of all of these addictions, the worst and most dangerous addiction we have is the greed of the oligarchs.
Well, I mean, the top 1% not only have the greed of the oligarchs, but they, I've heard my fair share of stories of a lot of politicians that can't seem to function without a little boost of booger sugar or at least a glass of brandy, just throwing it out there, or maybe a little glass of vodka, a vodka martini. Why not? Bernie, what also is addicting is the false promises of a false savior. Okay. That's what's problem here. Okay, there is an addiction crisis in this country. I mean, after all, never ask CIA their connections with a guy named El Chapo. Don't look into it. It might surprise you. It might get you angry. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you think. And it'll make you cry. That's how populism can be used against you. And notice again, I played the videos of those protesters, and they're protesting about the war in Gaza, the crisis in Gaza. But these same people, Bernie Sanders, are going to tell you, no, we can resist Trump. But how can you resist Trump? Pulling up this tweet again. There's a purpose of this live stream. The Democrats are dusting out AOC and Bernie to tell you, hey, look at this huge stadium. It's so huge and incredible. But Brianna Joy Gray is correct. This is going to seem so sinister when they tell these people to vote for the oligarchs in 2028, just like they did in 2024. That's how populism can be used. Again, shout out to Case Study QB. Follow him on Twitter, folks.
This is a fascinating conversation within the party, too, because you've got, depending on the state you're in, it's a different conversation. At a town hall in Flint, Michigan on Wednesday, Democratic Senator Alyssa Slotkin seemed to take issue a little bit with the progressive wing of her party when asked by a voter how she would, quote, step up for us, like Ocasio-Cortez and Sanders. Senator Slotkin replied this way, quote, everyone you mentioned has a lot of words, but what have they actually done to change the situation with Donald Trump and the cuts and the attacks on our judiciary and the attacks on our Constitution? Senator Slotkin continued, all of those things require me to be more than just an AOC. I can't do what she does because we live in a purple state and I'm a pragmatist.
That's also code word for I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to listen. We're not going to change our ways. So if you're asking for us to change our reckless ways, we ain't doing it. If you're asking the Democrats to actually fight back, they're not going to do it. And I mean, after all, listen, Democrats, if you actually put in some effort, you can actually do things, great things, if you choose so. But otherwise, from a different angle, what's the Democrat Party going to do?
This isn't just about Republicans. We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us too.
What? Say again?
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us too.
Oh, my goodness, Democrats. Can you just get it together? I mean, come on. Be a little bit more civilized here, Democrats.
And here's what I think about it.
Absolutely. Just want to have fun here. Just want to have some fun here, poking at the DNC. And yes, I know what to expect from the Republican Party, but if this is the resistance against the Democrat Party, Democrats are walking themselves into failure. But if you have people attending these events and not waking up to the fact that Bernie and AOC are going to tell them to vote blue no matter who, and when the question comes up, well, what's going to happen in 2028, they're not going to talk about it. How can you have Bernie Sanders in his little sit down with Jenk's nephew said, now's not the time for a third party.
Obviously, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez lives in a very Democratic district of New York City. So, Gene, when you take a look at this, yes, there are going to be variations, but they're all kind of making the same argument, which is there are a bunch of billionaires in Washington led by Elon Musk, that image of him with a golden chainsaw celebrating the fact that he's slashing and burning his way through the government, eliminating jobs.
Look, if you're worried about Elon Musk, listen. If the Democrats actually had policies, they wouldn't be letting Elon or Trump live rent-free in their head. Hold on. There's music playing. Don't want to get hit by it. But there's Elon Musk just with spoons. I'm not going to lie. I actually find this to be pretty impressive. That's just me. I'm just speaking for myself. I actually do find that to be pretty impressive. He's doing that with a whole bunch of spoons. You know? Democrats. Well, here's the person that's scaring them all, and corporate media is panicking about. Never ask them about all the times Democrats actually took donations. You know, I mean, where are the good billionaires, Democrats, right?
By the thousands. But they're making the same point, which is your job, your livelihood is in the hands of a group of billionaires who are handpicked from the patio at Mar-a-Lago.
Just like what the Democrats did during the Biden-Harris administration, right? Yes, I'm correct. I'm not debating anybody. It's the exact same thing. Nothing changed. The only difference is Trump and Elon are more front and center kind of people.
Running the country for their own benefit, giving themselves massive tax cuts, etc. And so the message you hear in different ways from both AOC, Bernie Sanders, and in a different way, Senator Slotkin, is just that. It is a form of a populist message.
Yeah, maybe you frame it differently in you know, maybe AOC and Congresswoman and Elizabeth Slotkin frame it differently. But in fact, there are a lot of people in Michigan who will respond to that message, who will understand that message, and who will use it, you know, as a sort of guide, a filter through which to view what's happening. And it is. I think that is. I think that hits home, and it does so in purple states and districts as well as in blue ones, and it does so in red ones as well.
I was going to say, the message Bernie Sanders and AOC, take that to Macomb County, and in the words of Hank Williams, Sr., you'll be setting the woods on fire. I mean.
Is everyone forgetting 2016 and 2020 and how Bernie's message did resonate with a lot of people across the political spectrum? And despite all the smears and all the slanders and all the attacks, Bernie Sanders was able to at least make an impact. But little did we all know that he was a nutless wonder and didn't want to fight and let the DNCs just steamroll him over. And now all he is just this little puppet saying, all right, guys, we can resist now. It's okay to protest. It's okay to do a glorified parade. It's amazing, isn't it?
That's a strong message that wins in places like Macomb County, Stephen. You know, the thing is, and I know you know this because you've been involved with the Democratic Party for a very long time. It takes the AOCs and the Bernies out there revving the crowds up. And it takes the Senator Slotkins in Washington doing what they're doing. I mean, it takes both wings to make any party work, right?
Well, it does. But let's put this in a little bit of perspective, because for the last 6 years, 8 years plus, we have known that Donald Trump's policies favor the rich. His tax cuts that they're now going to try to.
Just like Joe Biden, just like Trump's first term, just like Obama's 2 terms, just like Bush's 2 terms, just like or Bush Jr.'s 2 terms, just like Bill Clinton's 2 terms, just like Bush Sr.'s term, and just like good old Ronald Reagan. Seems to be a decade-long succession of Americans getting screwed up the wazoo.
Extend back from 2017 would have delivered 85% of their benefits to people making more than $75,000 a year or business. We have known, we went through the whole first Trump team. We know that Trump favors business. We know that Trump favors rich people.
So why did Democrats lose to families earning less than $50,000 last year?
Because, well, so the point is we have not been able to convince people that Trump is bad for them. I think everything Sanders and AOC are saying is fine, but
because your message sucks. You don't have a message. Now, I didn't see Biden or Hillary Clinton commanding in the large crowds of people attending. I remember seeing Bernie pull in the large crowds, not Biden or Hillary. Democrats can't pull into large crowds. They can't pull in the stadiums. The only sad truth of this is that from those large events, they're going to probably tell you, pulling up the tweet again, it just seems so sinister when these two tell you to vote for the oligarchs in 2028. You know, there was a primary in the 2024 election cycle. Do Dissidents talked about it. INN talked about it. Hardlands Media talked about it. Jimmy Dore talked about it. Everybody talked about it. And you know what was interesting is that the Democrats were making it very clear. Oh, Joe Biden's our guy. That's it. The other primary challengers weren't given a single thought. Marianne Williamson, RFK Jr., when he was running in the Democrat Party at the time. There was Dean Phillips. And, of course, hey, Cenk Uygur himself. They didn't have Snowflake's chance in Vulcan's Forge. They didn't have one good leg to stand on. Hell, they didn't have two good legs to stand on. They were rolling down that hill. Democratic primary was pointless in 2024 because there wasn't one. And one can make an argument they were pointless in 2020 and in 2016. Let me go and pull this tweet up again. Sorry about that, folks. Let me share right here. Share this tab.
The Green New Deal, defund the police, women playing men's sports, potentially. Do we really want? That's where I think ultimately we lost, because those people who make less than $50,000 a year couldn't relate to the far left policies. The rhetoric is great about Donald Trump.
What far left policies? No, seriously, I gotta know, because last I checked, during the 4 years of the Biden-Harris administration, we didn't get that. We didn't get Medicare for all, student debt forgiveness. Hell, we had nothing but war and Wall Street just walking around all over us, and the prices of food and goods getting higher and higher, and a migration crisis at the border. Brilliant job, Democrats. You screw up the message. And Bernie, you had a chance. You had lightning in the bottle, and you just threw it away. Between Trump and Bernie, at least Trump kept his sight together.
But then you get to the policies, and Alyssa Slotkin is speaking, I think, more the reality of what we have to do as a party.
At the same time, though, if, by the way you do this is, like, somebody brings up men who transition, and somebody brings that up, and you go, no, I don't.
Can't play women's sports.
I don't support that. Can't do it.
Sorry.
Talk about people border. No, we need to keep our border south. That, and everything they do, you just toss it aside, toss it aside, toss it aside. I know people hate when I talk about when I actually was in politics. I guess you're
bad cookies. Get up, go see the White House counselor. Joe Scarborough likes his coffee like he likes his wives. Get up, go see the White House counselor right now. I want you to tell her what you said.
rather me talk about when I was a high school football coach. It's not relevant here. You toss that aside and then go, listen, they're going to try to distract you with this stuff. Okay. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with us being the party of acceptance. We're not going to be the party of advocacy. We're going to leave that to families. We're going to leave that to friends. We're going to leave that to doctors. We're going to leave that to you all. But we're focused on making sure that the greatest transfer of income in the history of mankind, from middle-class Americans in the 1980s and 90s, over the last 30 or 40 years, to the richest billionaires and multi-corporations on earth, that's what we're focusing on. And we're not going to let them extend tax cuts to the richest billionaires on the face of the earth who.
This is the same Joe Scarborough said, "Morning, Joe. This is the best Biden ever." The same Joe Scarborough who just was like, "Oh, we can't have Biden beat, we can't have Bernie beat Biden. We can't have that. He's bad news. He's a radical." And now all of a sudden he's talking about the wealth gap. This man's in an ivory tower looking down at all of us.
We're running monopolies that are changing your family's lives, costing your jobs, melting your children's brains down. We're not going to let them give them a bigger break. We're going to give you a tax cut so you can afford to pay your rent, so you can afford to send your kids to school, so you can afford to have the dignity that they've taken from you. God, how could Democrats lose with that message?
They need to take back the economic progressive argument. That is winning messaging. They need to lose the cultural war progressivism. It's not part of the conversation right now.
Yeah.
They need to stick to what the majority of Americans relate to. And right now, it is that Donald Trump and his cronies are getting rich and hijacking the rule of law, and everyone else is suffering.
Okay, but behind those clips, which were great clips, they haven't lost all those things. They still believe in all those things.
That's what.
They're still
Bull. They don't. But the Democrat Party's full of hot air. Case in point. No, the title's not wrong. It's correct.
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us together. We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us together.
No, because here's the thing. Even then, when the Democrats, when confronted, they still always fail. And speaking of failure, look, we know that currently Cori Bush, her husband, is in a little bit of some trouble. But even then, these very same people who are part of the squad, they always find a way to screw things up. I mean, even case in point right here, Bowman. Bowman made an oopsie. Bowman made a serious oopsie.
That's not true. And this shows, again, the American people do not trust Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is incompetent in his position. And how do we know? Because they fired tens of thousands of people. It was challenged in court. The court said the people have to go back, and now the people are coming back. He's incompetent. He's a thief. He's a Nazi, and people don't trust him.
Now, by the way, Elon Musk said, "I've had enough. Lawsuit inbound." We're gonna play it again, just one more time, because this is the problem with the Democrats, culture war, corporate media. You'll see what I'm talking about.
That's not true. And this shows, again, the American people do not trust Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is incompetent in his position. And how do we know? Because they fired tens of thousands of people. It was challenged in court. The court said the people have to go back, and now the people are coming back. He's incompetent. He's a thief. He's a Nazi, and people don't trust him. Period.
And the thing is, like, look, I understand protesting Trump and Elon, but the problem is that, look, when you use words, when you have Trumpers calling Democrats or progressives communists, and then you have Democrats, liberals calling Trumpers fascists, and all that other thing, third parties, fascist supporters, or something like that, words lose their meaning. And in turn, we're in a day and age where people are emotionally immature. All right. And when they hear stuff like this, they react. And I know we've all been seeing the videos on social media where somebody goes up to a Tesla and does damage to it by either, yes, urinating or defecating on it, keying it up, or trying to set it on fire. Now, that person's car, no matter what it is, that's their property. Maybe that's the only vehicle they could afford at the time, or maybe they just like it. A lot of Americans are not politically engaged. And see, the problem with Bowman's words here is that you have enough people saying, yes, and I'm going to do something. And in turn, when they do something, they go do something stupid. Like what happens to this lady here, because I got an article I'm going to be pulling up here too. But listen, you have some random douchebag pull over and stop a woman who's driving a Tesla and confronts her.
Angry because she was driving a Tesla.
I was thankfully by myself.
Lee was on the way to a doctor's appointment in Linwood Wednesday morning when she says all of a sudden a driver behind her just laid on the horn as they came up to a red light. Things spiraled out of control when a white SUV followed her and cut her off, stopping in the middle of the road.
Gets out and walks straight up to my window. So I cracked my window and I said, what is the problem? And he goes, you need to sell your car. This is a Nazi car. You're driving it. You need to sell your car.
Lee says she's been driving a Tesla for the last 2 years. She says the man wearing a camouflage jacket and a ski mask attacked her for it.
It's really sad, that this is what's happening to people who honestly, it doesn't affect how I believe or what I believe. It's just the car I drive. Being in Seattle, climate's important, our footprint's important. This seemed like the right move for our very busy family.
This, however, isn't the first incident or act of vandalism reported. We've seen attack after attack after attack.
Now, yes, I do find some of these incidents to be very suspicious. I'm seeing that in the chat here as well. But some of them are very real and very frightening. And also, just telling people who may get emotionally angry when they see a Tesla, whatever you want to call it. I know, audience have fun. Audience always wins with the chat. But when you have people, keying up a Tesla, just remember, those things can have security cameras and boom, you're going to knock the door. And you go into court, baby.
Teslas set ablaze at the Las Vegas Service Center earlier this week, with the culprit leaving behind the word resist. In Oregon, shots were fired at a dealership, and in Massachusetts, charging stations were torched. These incidents have only intensified since CEO Elon Musk has taken a prominent role in the Trump administration, while slashing government jobs and spending.
Felt so intentional, felt exactly what he was there to do.
There was even a website, now taken down, sharing the personal information of Tesla owners to pressure them to sell their vehicles.
Now, look, when you have people saying, sell your car, you know what I put this in equivalent of? The same people who were being emotionally charged when, there was the height of the BLM protest, people breaking their coffee machines or burning their Nike shoes, okay? It's like, okay, hold on. First of all, you're breaking your coffee machines or any kind of corporate product or anyone else that's breaking a Tesla. Because I played a video earlier this week where you had one dude who bought a Tesla just to break it. You want those corporations going to say, oh, well, we still got your money, baby. That's how it works. That's how it works all the time. And this person here talking, she sounds like just, a Coca-Cola Classic kind of person who votes Democrat, maybe. Okay. She looks like one of those people. She sounds like one of those people, in my opinion. What's the point of pulling her vehicle over and saying, sell your car? And I'll get back to how this all relates a little bit to Jamal Bowman, the kind of oopsie he stepped himself in.
Was to align with what we thought, that it's easy to just, turn over a $60,000 car and find something new that works. That's not a decision that everybody can make overnight. And I think that puts a lot of us in a hard position.
Now, since May confronted, Lee says that she started taking the highways in order to feel more visible and avoid those back road stop signs. At the same time, though, she also tells me that she's made several reports regarding this incident. We're waiting to hear back if this individual is going to be facing any consequences. In Seattle, Alejandra Guzman.
And so why is that important? Because it goes back to this. When you have people in a position of power or who had a position of power and they start projecting these thoughts of, oh, they're a communist or, oh, they're a fascist. There are long-term consequences and repercussions of said statements.
That's not true. And this shows, again, the American people do not trust Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is incompetent in his position. And how do we know? Because they fired tens of thousands of people, was challenged in court. The court said the people have to go back, and now the people are coming back. He's incompetent. He's a thief. He's a Nazi, and people don't trust him. Period.
Let me just...
And what has happened after that is stuff like this. Of course, well, first, I'll pull this up here. Apparently, Elon Musk said he intends to file a lawsuit against former Squad Representative Jamal Bowman for calling him a Nazi and a thief this week on CNN. Words from Jamal Bowman. I've had enough. Lawsuit inbound, Musk wrote on X Friday. Next, a clip of Bowman's caustic remarks. In his Thursday rant, Bowman, who was ousted in a primary last summer. By the way, Jamal Bowman, debate Jose Vega. Come on. Debate Jose Vega. Come on, make it happen. Last summer by a pro-Israeli Democrat said the Department of Government Efficiency boss doesn't have the necessary skills to spearhead the Trump administration cost-cutting crusade. And he goes on to make those words, these words right here, throwing it out here.
That's not true. And this shows, again, the American people do not trust Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is incompetent in his position. And how do we know? Because they fired tens of thousands of people, was challenged in court. The court said the people have to go back, and now the people are coming back. He's incompetent. He's a thief. He's a Nazi, and people don't trust him. Period.
Let me just...
Now, I want to pull up the rest of this article here. The remarks by the former Bronx and Westchester County rep came during exchange with Joe Borelli, an ex-top Republican on the New York City Council, who suggested Democrats were manufacturing a lot of these protests that have dogged GOP town halls with constituents over recent weeks. By the way, when real progressive and independents confront Democrat lawmakers, boy, oh boy, are they quick to kick out all the real activists. I mean, it's all a song and dance here. That's not true. And this shows, again, the American people do not trust Elon Musk. But near the end of the segment, CNN host Abby Phillips tried to draw distance from Bowman's incendiary attack against Musk. Former Congressman Bowman, I have to say, just a second, I just have to say your opinion about Elon Musk is your opinion about Elon Musk. Because why? CNN can't afford no lawsuit. CNN, MSNBC, they're bleeding that money dry. They're hurting, dog. Don't ask them if they're okay. Don't ask them if they're fine, because they're not fine. But it's words like this, it's statements like this that cause the Democrats to lose their real momentum. Okay. This is why people have left, because they're using word and identity politics. I understand being critical of Elon Musk, but there are better ways. First of all, one, breaking away from the two-party system, supporting independents and third parties, actually creating movements of change. But if it's all going to be the same song and dance, we're right back here where we started from. And that is, oh, look, Bernie Sanders, they're bringing in crowds of people, filling them in. Friday and Saturday have been some very good days for the Fight the Oligarchy tour. But Brianna Joy Gray is correct. This is going to seem sinister when they tell these people to vote for the oligarchs in 2028, just like they did in 2024. And it's all the same.
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us together. We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us together.
I don't know why she thought it or said it, but I mean, this is pure gold. And yeah, no, there's a Freudian slip.
And here's what I think about it.
We're having fun this evening, as we should all the time, every time. But it does pull up, I mean, some good news. You know, some things that make you feel good about yourself. All right, because I, for one, want to address something here in this late evening live stream rant here, because we got to remember the Fight for Oligarchy tour. It's successful. It's filling in crowds, but it's a cause of concern for me, because I think people are being led into the duopoly all over again, which is why we need independent media. But I found this opinion piece, and everyone deserves an opinion. Third-party candidates let voters have more options for president. That sounds great. Don't tell that to Bernie Sanders, because in his little sit down with Cenk's nephew, that was a no-go. That was a no bueno. A strong majority of voters have long expressed a desire for more than just two choices in the presidential race, but the majority of parties try to shut that down at every turn, from fighting ballot access to wielding the spoiler epithet like an axe. As the Green and Libertarian presidential nominees in 2024, we were in the crossfire of this political combat. Now that the presidential election is behind us, we'd like to suggest an urgently needed solution, to which I have to say to Jill Stein and Chase Oliver, keep on doing the good fight. Just a quick reminder, in case any of you guys and gals do not know, and you should be made aware of it, because perhaps it flew under your radar, and I encourage everyone to check out our video on it. But Jill Stein was charged earlier this week. It happened. She was charged, and it's not fair to her. It's not fair to the work that she has done. But for everyone that is watching, please be sure to support us on Hardlands Media. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel, all that good jazz. But right here, just 2 days ago, Jill Stein charged with assault during a protest to silence third parties and independents. And I actually had a recent great conversation with a couple of third party representatives, maybe hopefully to build something up in 2026 to get more attention. We'll see what happens. But Hardlands Media, look, I'm all for other choices, and I like this article from Chase Oliver and Jill Stein. America needs ranked choice voting. It's a time to consider this approach, which would end the spoiler problem altogether, allowing all Americans to benefit from real choices and vote their conscience while ensuring that majorities rule. Having more states adopt ranked choice voting would be a game changer, not only for voters, but for candidates and parties too. Everyone could vote for the candidate they truly support freely, with the hope they could speak their minds without worrying they'd waste their vote or help elect the person they like the least. They would consider the issue-driven platforms of smaller parties, whether that issue is greater freedom for Americans on our soil or ending genocide overseas. Ranked choice voting would end the hand-wringing over third parties, altering results in the tight battlegrounds, even if that outcome was averted in the 2024 presidential race. Instead of attacking us with negative ads, nasty billboards, Republicans and Democrats would have to attract support from independents and undecided voters with a message other than fear. And I, for one, want that. I want to see third parties succeed. I'm a double hater through and through. Democrat Party, Republican Party, you're going to get screwed in the end. Team red, team blue, don't give a damn about you. Pikachu, I choose you. Anyways, I just want to throw that in there. One of the lessons of 2024 campaign was the voters have had it with politics as usual. Polls show consistent demand for additional choices. Frustrated voters are increasingly registered as independent, but feel they have few options other than whipsawing between the same two parties. Hardlands Media, we interviewed two of the Libertarian candidates, including Chase Oliver when he was in his primary. We interviewed, of course, Dr. Cornel West. And yes, we did have an opportunity to even interview Dr. Jill Stein. And I will say something about the 2024 election cycle. On the one hand, it was the most attention we've ever saw for third parties, both positive in the media and, yes, extremely negative, but they got a lot of attention that election cycle, more so in 2016 and 2020. 2024 was a good year, but it left much to be desired because of the confusion, especially with Cornel West and the Green Party, Jill Stein running, of course, and then you had the situation with the Libertarian primary. I mean, and then you had RFK Jr. as well running his independent candidacy as well. Started off somewhat positive and ended like a fart in the wind. A lot of hot gas. I mean, maybe that's a segment for this evening live stream. It's nothing but a lot of hot gas, especially when you want to put hope in one hand and crap in the other and see which one fills up faster. But see, the Democrats need to understand, Republican politicians need to understand that American voters are identifying themselves more and more as independents. And what I would say to third parties, be they green, libertarian, independent, socialists, get your act together and start laying down your foundations. Not only for this midterm election cycle, but for 2028. You had opportunities in 2016 and 2020. Those were 8 years in which you really could have done a lot. This is the time to do so. And as much as I have supported third parties on this show, show me something, because otherwise you're going to get the same treatment. And I say this out of love. You're going to get the same treatment like I give Republicans and Democrats. That's just how I feel. Continuing on, that's because the politicians who have made our democracy so dysfunctional hide behind a system that suppresses choice or makes it feel too risky. They manipulate the system and try to weaponize third parties to serve their own agendas. They secretly support ballot access for us if they think we will pull votes from their majority party opponent. Then they turn around and block us everywhere or vilify us as spoilers or suggest we're betraying democracy if we compete with them in states they expect to win. None of this would be necessary in a ranked choice election. Here's how it works. Every voter has the option of ranking the field of candidates in order they prefer. If any candidate wins over 50% of the first choices, they win. If no one wins a majority, the bottom candidate is eliminated. If your candidate remains, your vote stays with them. If your favorite falls short, your vote counts for your second choice, as it should. Doesn't that sound great? But oh, wait, what have we learned here in the 8 years of covering news, politics here at Hardlands Media? The Democrat Party and Republican Party don't want you to have that choice. They want you to get hyped up for their Republican candidate. They want you to get hyped up for the Democrat candidate. And that's what this whole thing with Fight the Oligarchy is all about. Bernie Sanders and AOC are trying to hype you up and re-energize people to be suckered into the Democrat Party and keep the two-party system as it is. Just want to throw this out here too. Maine and Alaska smoothly used this system to vote for president last year and had among the highest voter percentages in the country for candidates outside the major parties. Ranking your vote is commonplace now for millions of voters in cities nationwide. It's easy and voters like it. And states have the authority. Oh my goodness, the authority. Can you believe it? To make it happen, whether through voter-initiated ballot measures or legislation. So that's citizen ballot initiatives. Citizen ballot initiatives. I'm going to say that again for everybody. Citizen ballot initiatives, because that's what's going to win the day. If you actually support citizen ballot initiatives, this is a thing for you. It's a Coca-Cola classic line. I want to give a huge shout out to Roger Meadows, who's been promoting citizen ballot initiatives on our show. He's been proven correct about that. In many ways, it resembles a runoff, except that it happens instantaneously without extra cost of bringing everyone back to the polls 6 weeks later. One of us experienced this process as a Libertarian candidate for U.S. Senate in Georgia in 2022. Senate runoffs cost Georgia an estimated $75 million, and far fewer voters cast a ballot. With ranked choice voting, everyone is heard, money is saved, and results become much quicker. See, the problem with that is that the Democrat Party and Republican Party don't want you to think. They want you to get hyped up, go to the little pep rallies, and be subservient. The states that use ranked choice voting have better, more serious campaigns. The ones that don't, they get attack ads and billboards calling third-party nominees spoilers and dupes, if not worse. The two parties have been hollering at third-party candidates ever since Ross Perot and Ralph Nader, and it hasn't worked. It's an exhausting cycle, but a fixable problem. Imagine walking into the supermarket and finding only two options on the shelves. We'd be outraged. Yet when it comes to the most critical decisions shaping our nation, the political duopoly insists that two choices are good enough. And it's not good enough. We need to have something better. We need to have something far better. Ranked choice voting, citizen ballot initiatives, actually having real change. You know, and the thing is, Ralph Nader, Ross Perot have been vilified by corporate media, by the two-party system. See, third parties are becoming more vibrant, and they have to become more energized. That's what I want third parties to be, because more Americans identify themselves as independent. It's not that people aren't engaged. It's just that the two parties, the two options that we have, aren't engaging enough. And in turn, when we do have people who are trying to do change, like Jill Stein, just 2 days ago, Jill Stein charged with assault during a protest. Why? Apparently, she was kicking a police officer, which I find that hard to believe. You know, I'm not to bully Jill Stein, but I just don't think she has the strength to really cripple somebody. Okay, I'm just throwing it out there, But no, people let Donald Trump and Elon Musk live rent free in their head and turn to use the propaganda saying, "Oh, we can't support third parties." This is your opponent. Like, look, it's fine. You got Elon right there with all the spoons. Okay. Now, on the one hand, that's pretty impressive. And look right there. You got Trump laughing. There you go. Ranked choice voting, citizen ballot initiatives. It seems like a good idea, and I think that's a great idea. But when you have prep rallies like this, and you have Democrats showing this all the time, look, it does look sinister. Brianna Joy Gray is correct. It looks very sinister. Are they going to tell you to vote for the oligarchs in 2026 and in 2028? It feels like that to me. It does. It looks like that to me. But they want you. We need a party that's going to fart harder. I mean, fight harder, fart harder, gas in the air.
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us today. We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us today. We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us today.
And they can't fight. I know they can't fight. I mean, that's just how I feel. But that's the point of this live stream, to address this stupid idea that somehow this Fight the Oligarchy tour is going to change things. We need something better than that. And going in to the two-party system, be it Democrat or Republican, you're just allowing yourself to be screwed over. I do want to acknowledge a Rumble rant here. Kids, stop saying Democrats can't fight. Surely you know that. That's not true. Words matter, man. As a matter of fact, I think I might be better to focus more on activism like Workers Strike Back. See, now Workers Strike Back, that has more credibility, because at least it's not being subservient to the DNC or the Democrats. See, now that can work. That can work. And people got to break away from both the Democrat Party and Republican Party. People have to be aggressive. People have to be unapologetic. And Topher 1010 on Kick says they won't wait till 2028. They will be telling you to do so in the midterms. That's right. They'll be telling you to do so in 2028 or 2026. They'll be telling you to do this all the time, every time. But they're going to make the promise of saying that we need a party that's going to fight harder. Fight harder. Fight harder how? Can you even deliver, Democrats, on any of your promises? We didn't get Medicare for all or student debt forgiveness. We haven't gotten the wars to end. There's still political corruption. There's money in politics. It's abundantly clear that the Democrats don't have that dog in them. So with that being said, before we end our evening live stream, I know, didn't we have a lot of fun here? I want to give a huge shout out to my moderators keeping the peace. First of all, Louis Brooks was at $50 super chat. Oh my goodness gracious, Cretaceous. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for your generosity. I think that's very
amazing. 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 Amazing.
I think that's just so lovely. Thank you so much. As always, love the chat, love the audience. Thank you to Web Angel. Thank you so much for your Rumble rant as well. I believe that's very amazing too. In fact, you're going to get an amazing as well. Thank you for the Rumble rant. You are
amazing. Amazing. Amazing.
Also, folks, I do want to address something here too. We have been working on a lot of great projects here for Hard Lens Media. There's another story that we are working on. Hopefully, we can get a guest on to talk a little bit more about it, because there's so much developing around it. So working on more collaborations, having more guests on the show, that's going to be epic. It's going to be a huge thing around. Also reaching out, speaking to third parties to potentially lay down the groundwork to get more attention to their work. And I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. If you want to, support Hard Lens Media and check us out, first of all, what would be really great is if everybody hit that like button, because if you don't, I promise you, this will happen.
Right here. Everyone thinks that's the nuclear. Everyone thinks that's the nuclear weapon. They think it's a nuclear weapon. They say if I press this, it's the end of the world. It's a nuclear weapon. They say if I press this, it's the end of the world. Then they say if I press this, it's the end of the world. Oh.
That's right. If you don't hit that like button, it's the end of the world. And what's also pretty cool in the description box below is, of course, Linktree, Peachtree to all our social medias. YouTube, X, Instagram, Bookface, our YouTube link, our X account, our Rumble in the Jungle account, our Kick account, our Discord, where all my party animals are at, and supporting us on Patreon, and supporting us on PayPal, and supporting us on Instagram as well. Because if you don't, listen, I'm not going to make any promises, but I will fight, just like how AOC will fight, right?
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us today.
I had to play that one more time. That is just pure gold. It's a Coca-Cola classic. And as always, we're live Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Central, YouTube, Rumble, Kick, X. Follow us on all of our social media. We got music by Jesse Jett. Jesse Jett, who's number one in the hood. Okay? Now, look, one more time. I got to say, the song, I promise, next week we'll have more diverse songs. But this is music by Jesse Jett. Well, I appreciate all the support. Here we go again to our Linktree. It's pinned to the chat. Support us. Follow us all there. It's the right thing to do. It's the one thing to do. And now some music by Jesse Jett. Until then, take good care of yourselves. I'm going to be reposting this link on our X account, and I will be time-stamping this live stream. So for anyone that missed out or wants to check out certain things, there will be timestamps. So that way it's easy for you to fast forward certain parts, because this is a special Saturday evening live stream. I'm getting senile already. Saturday evening live stream, because all of you people are great. All of you are. I'm embarrassing myself as I'm ending the show. Okay. I'm embarrassing myself as I end the show. You guys are great. Thank you so much for your support. Hardlands Media wouldn't exist without all of you. So take good care. Share our content on social media. We have a lot of great content, and we're working on some future collabs as well. So peace be with you. Much love. Have a safe weekend, and I'll see you guys sharp Monday morning, 9 a.m.
I didn't have to wait for long. I never had to change a song. I just sing it like a raised alarm. Smile when you say I'm wrong. I can't even fade the song. Can't fake while you play the charms.
Yo, first of all, Tim Tibbs, $20. Thank you so much for the YouTube super chat. Much appreciated. Trying to keep an eye on all the live stream chats, but we do appreciate all our super chats and everybody else that's been supporting us. We've been getting some new patron supporters as well, so much love. Nothing will go unnoticed by the Mad King's eye. So let's go ahead and rewind that and enjoy the music. But I want to acknowledge all of you. Thank you for your support. Have a great evening, everybody. Be safe. Much love. I'm up.
I didn't have to wait for long. I never had to change a song. I just sing it like a raised alarm. Smile when you say I'm wrong. I can't even fade the song. Can't fake while you play the charms. And I don't know the page you're on, but this is where you say you're wrong.
Now's the perfect time for you to burn the bridge to self-forgiveness. Now's the chance, take a stand, stay your hand before you cast another vote for corporate interest. Another vote that chokes your hopes of owning your own home or opening a business. They love to say their hands were tied, the stars just weren't aligned for them to get their votes in line to see their promises delivered. But they killed it in an instant. Bills don't die by accident, they're all assassinated on behalf of the congressionally kismet. By some lobbyists who see themselves as agents of clandestine fate, not fences in a prison. Dealing in the stolen goods of sleeping slaves and trading on the futures of their children. Betting on a spread of daily debt where every grave's creating profit by the millions. For some fascists lurking in the wings and all of their affiliates. And every Etna demigod our senators conduct their darkest dealings with. It really gets impossible to document or fingerprint, because it isn't just a pattern of corruption, it's the very fabric making up the structure of the system that we're living in. So dash your hopes and down a margarita goes. You box the shadows, take a little nap, and then you get back in and swing again. But if the margarita made you sick, you probably wouldn't take a drink again. So if you're voting either party, honey, think again. I recommend you steel your nerves and never serve an officer, a president, a despot, or a king again. And mark my words, the day will come where we will rise and sing again. And if voting makes you sick, well, no one's forcing you to drink again.
I didn't have to wait for long. I never had to change a song. I just sing it like a raised alarm. Smile when you say I'm wrong. I can't even fade the song. Can't fake while you play the charms. And I don't know the page you're on, but this is where you say you're wrong.
This is where you finally admit you weren't ignorant. You boldly voted Joe like an informed and blissful idiot. You chose to blur the parts of Biden you don't find the prettiest. Now you choose uplifting news and filter out the grittiest. But the truth is something coarse enough that even when it's hidden, it's apparent when you feel it on your fingertips. I know it's hard to deal with from a distance, and up close the truth is hideous. But there's just no getting rid of it. You've got to let it enter. It just worries at your skin at every moment, loud or intimate. But shake it off, for fuck's sakes. You don't have to celebrate or be so proud of progress by imaginary increments. You don't have to heap such constant praise on fucking villains, like they're stillborn promises or honestly just isolated incidents, and not the product of the principle of privilege. Not intentional eugenics just by any other synonym. Covered up with desperate clusterfucks of rosy images. Labeled plain by any other name except for what the fucking image is. So once you stare the page down enough, you'll spot the difference. That one is red and one is blue, and that's the only truth, because neither one delivers on that promise of deliverance. One is red and one is blue, and that's the only difference. And the rest are isolated and imaginary incidents. One is red, one is blue, and that's the only difference.
I didn't have to wait for long. I never had to change a song. I just sing it like a raised alarm. Smile when you say I'm wrong. I can't even fade the song. Can't fake while you play the charms. And I don't know the page you're on, but this is where you say you're wrong.
It's right here. Everyone thinks that's the nuclear. Everyone thinks that's the nuclear weapon. They think it's a nuclear weapon. They say if I press this, it's the end of the world.
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us today. We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us today. We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us today.